Hi, I'm Chip Franklin, and this is Really American.
I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering.
All right, we're going to start today by showing you a video with the problem in the Republican Party. Right now, Republicans are afraid to vote for a bipartisan bill that will deal with many of the problems Republicans have been talking about for the last 7 years at our border, and especially Trump with his Build the Wall stuff. So there's a real problem that, again, goes back to how do you stand up to this guy and not get defeated in your district by his base? I guess that's the problem. The question now, though, is that base as strong as they used to be? Are they starting to defect? We've seen numbers, and Republicans have seen these numbers, and you'll hear from some of them in a minute. They won't talk about polls, but this is what this is about. Is the base beginning to move away from Trump? It seems like women are, since abortion. This border bill will be a real test. It goes for a vote next week, and we'll see if Republicans do stand up. Now, Fox News has already, and you'll hear from Laura Ingraham in just a minute as well, Fox News has already come out and essentially attacked Republicans who support this bill. But the crazy part about this, just the insane nature of this, is that they're saying this out loud. They're saying, I'm not going to vote for this bill because Trump doesn't want me to. A bill that would strengthen our border, the thing that they've been talking about. Now, you got to think that this hypocrisy is going to come back at them. And we'll have Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about that in a minute. So we got a lot coming up here. So right now I want to show you a couple videos here of Republicans that have actually stood up to Trump. And then we have a lot more coming up here. So this is video of Dan Crenshaw and Senator Mitt Romney.
I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering by many on the right to torpedo a potential border reform bill. If we have a bill that on net significantly decreases illegal immigration, and we sabotage that, that is inconsistent with what we told our voters we would do. People will make up whatever reasons they want to. There's a number of them, I'm sure. But it would be a pretty unacceptable dereliction of your duty.
Former President Trump has indicated to senators that he does not want us to solve the problem at the border. He wants to lay the blame for the border at Biden. And the idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics is a shocking development.
But the problem is here, Trump supporters, they just don't care. This is a cult, and they're saying, please, sir, more Kool-Aid.
There needs to be consequences, political consequences, for Republicans trying to force this bill 9 months before the election. Let the people decide this. Pro-amnesty Republicans, though, when you really think about it, would be really happy if this new border bill hamstrung President Trump from really shutting down the border and really deporting people if he wins in November.
You know, the hypocrisy here is really impressive, and the irony is so thick you couldn't cut it with Marjorie Taylor Greene's hillbilly buck teeth. Watch this.
Let's talk about Border Patrol apprehensions between ports of entry at the southwest border of terrorists.
And I have to say, it is pretty rich hearing the gentleman from Georgia express her concern about terrorism when she literally was selling defund the FBI t-shirts and hats on her website for $30 a piece. $30 for the shirts and another $30 for the hats. You don't get both for just the $30. The leading law enforcement agency tasked with combating terrorism in this country and keeping people safe, and she wants to defund it. So I am not going to take any lectures from her on securing this homeland from terror.
The Republican Party is exposed here. I mean, to anyone who can speak in complete sentences, they're heading towards defeating a bill that the country wants, which will work. And here's the kicker. They could claim credit for it. They could say that they could steal the whole thing. They could say that was their idea all along, but they don't. Instead, Jelly Roll wants to campaign on this like it's 2016 again.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
And so the GOP, instead of grabbing victory from the jaws of defeat, decides to go ahead and try to impeach Homeland Secretary Mayorkas.
I have done my due diligence, and I am standing firm at this point on this. If there's some new evidence, I'm happy to look at it, but I don't believe there will be.
Look, the Republicans have had their chance to draft meaningful legislation, but they've spent the last 2 years on Hunter Biden and harmful demagoguery. And understandably, people are pissed.
And this impeachment's part of that. We have held zero, I repeat, zero full committee hearings dedicated to emergency preparedness, cyber threats, infrastructure protection, transportation security, Department of Homeland Security management, or information sharing and intelligence efforts. With the global dynamic that we have not lived up to our oversight obligation here on this committee because you all are obsessed with the border. Because you bend the knee to the orange Jesus, as you refer to him, across the aisle. That's what this is about. And we have failed our jurisdiction on this committee. So I'm tired of being lectured. You know, I try to listen here. I try to be a team player. I really do. I try not to engage in the partisanship, but I've had it. I've listened to a lot of accusations here today. We are here on a sham impeachment hearing because of the partisanship of this committee, and enough is enough. Ms. Green asked the American people. The American people are listening. They are, and they're tired of the partisanship of this Republican majority that has failed to get things done.
This bipartisan bill is a good but tough and fair piece of legislation. No more catch and release, which we've been talking about for how many years? Asylum seekers have to wait in detention to see if they can stay in the country. And if they can't, they're deported. There's a limit on the number of migrants that can come into the country. And if we reach that limit, they shut the border down. Again, this is President Biden and Democrats. They would shut the border down.
But we cannot simply shirk from our responsibilities just because a task is difficult. So, for the information of senators, the Senate will be in session and will hold a vote on Monday, February 5th. There is no longer a no-vote day. While we're respectful of members' schedules and try to limit inconveniences, these challenges at the border and in Ukraine and the Middle East are just too great, and we will need to be here working. Next, as I said, discussions are going well. So I want members to be aware that we plan to post the full text of the National Security Supplemental as early as tomorrow, no later than Sunday. That will give members plenty of time to read the bill before voting on it. As for the timing of the vote, I plan to file cloture on the motion to proceed to the vehicle on Monday, leading to the first vote on the National Security Supplemental no later than Wednesday.
Look, this is an important moment for Republicans and this country. The border is symbolic of, I think, of a lot of things. Xenophobia, I guess a misunderstanding of just the importance of migrants and what they mean to this country. California's GDP is wholly dependent on this. And if California is not making food, we are the 5th largest economy in the world. I live 20 miles from the border. I know how this works. I've never seen a Mexican either not working or looking for work. These are good people. We have to have the right people, right, coming into the country. We don't want people that come here without any real motivation to do well, right? And it's going to be a distinction that's hard to determine from many people. But we can do this. And this is what the border should be about. It shouldn't be about they're criminals, they're rapists, they're, this is not what this is about. Would I rather have a woman who has gone through 3 countries with her family just to come to our border for freedom than Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert giving somebody a hand job? No, yeah, I'd rather have these people. But the question is for Republicans, and maybe for you too, do you really care about our future? Do you really care about our security? Do you really care about the United States of America? Or are you drinking the Kool-Aid? It's an important question. And the clock is ticking.